Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. There's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, Timothy J. Jones. And yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. On this edition, we're going to be continuing our talk about Saints training camp, talking about defensive end Chase Young, and also left tackle Taliese Fuaga, and how these guys are doing their job, and how Chase Young could be a very, very good thing for this offensive line. And we're also going to be talking about Dennis Allen and him landing on a list that no head coach wants to be on. But a special shout out to everybody that's in here right now. Shouts out to Mike. Shouts out to Cartel, Asa, Jerry, Lee. Thank you all. And for those that are filing in and, tuning in, I really do appreciate it as well. This is not going to be a long show. We're going to kind of just get through some clips and read a few comments and questions, and then we'll go ahead and get up out of here. But we have to talk a little bit about Dennis Allen and, the New Orleans Saints at training camp. Dennis Allen, I have to say, man, you can say whatever you want about him, and I understand people have their reservations about Dennis Allen. Some people feel like he's not the right guy for the job. And to be honest with you, he has not done enough, in a lot of people's eyes. But all in all, man, this new approach that he has, I feel like this is some of the things that Saints fans want to see from him. The fact that, he's very transparent and he's not afraid to challenge guys. And, there's some guys that he talked about during training camp. And, a guy that we all respect and like is A.T. Perry. And A.T. Perry, of course, had a really good season towards the end of last year. I want to say he had like 3 or 4 touchdowns, pretty solid performance, made some plays, but he hasn't really stood out in training camp. And, the question was asked about, what was Dennis Allen's thoughts about the second-year receiver?
Well, yeah, I would say I wouldn't say either one. I'd say he's kind of holding steady right now. I'm kind of waiting to see him, do something that's going to jump up and catch my eye a little bit. Certainly we've seen some other guys, step up and make some plays, some guys that maybe we might not have expected, but I think, look, I think AT's doing fine. I do think that he's got to, do something to take that next step and make one of those plays that's going to kind of catch our eye a little bit.
So you say he's doing fine. What you've seen of other guys is doing it fine enough to make this roster?
Well, doing fine in anything's not gonna end up cutting it, you know. And so, yeah, I mean, he, along with a lot of other guys, have to do some things to, you know, catch our eye and impress us. And so I'm still waiting on that from him.
So A.T. Perry, we already know this guy is talented. We've seen some of the playmaking ability that he has. He's a big, you know, tall wide receiver. He's about 6'4", 6'5". So he has a really good catch radius, man. But, you know, you got to be able to stand out. You got to be able to get some attention on yourself. And I don't know how to feel about this whole situation. You know, like, I don't know. It's like, you know, Fantasia or something like that. Does Fantasia have to really like convince you that she can sing? You know, like it's just one of those situations. I just look at A.T. Perry as a gamer. Like, he didn't really stand out at training camp last year, to be honest with you. You know, most people were talking about he was dropping passes and stuff like that. But when you get in the game, I mean, he making spectacular catches. I mean, we all remember when Jameis Winston, threw the ball from one side of the field to the other to A.T. Perry and he caught it. Then, you know, late in the game versus the Rams, you know, he caught the pass over the corner. So I don't know, man. It could be like one of those things where a guy don't really stand out in practice all the time, but when he get in the game, you know, he be balling. You know, and I don't want this to be one of those situations where y'all looking for him and then all of a sudden, like, he leaves, go somewhere else, and then all of a sudden he's an integral part of somebody else's offense because he didn't show you something at training camp. So to me, man, you got to kind of combine what this guy has done in a real game, and also like kind of apply what he did last season. You know, maybe the route running has gotten a little bit better. Maybe the footwork has got a little bit better. But I just feel like if you want this dude to go out here and catch a 50-yard bomb with one hand looking like OBJ, you know what I'm saying, on that Sunday night, I mean, I don't know. Like, if he's solid, then that's fine. But of course, a guy like Mason Tipton, who nobody expect to make the team, comes out of nowhere, is going to get the attention because nobody expected for him to even be in that position in the first place. But I don't think that you should just cast this guy away because you know what he can do in a big game situation. All I'm saying is, for people that were talking about A.T. Perry and, oh, man, he needs to step up, this was kind of the same vibe that you got from A.T. Perry last season. Like, seriously, like, he didn't really knock your socks off. One of the reasons why, you know, he got into the rotation once Michael Thomas went down. And that's when we started to see that this dude was actually a baller. So I don't want to be one of those situations where you just basically just looking at this guy to do something that you already know he's capable of doing. And you know, look at the ways that he has improved as a player. He's a solid player. So I don't know, but I do respect the fact that he is challenging those players. What I didn't like, and I will say this, what I did not like is when A.T. Perry did go to the podium and a question was asked to him about this. Now think about this, folks. Think about this. Now, this man out here putting his best foot forward. He out there grinding, catching passes, running routes. He think he putting on a solid performance. Ain't nobody really calling him out, saying nothing to him. Then all of a sudden, the media talking about Dennis Allen saying you need to step up. Like, what the hell is that? You know, like, I don't know, man. I guess, like, it just is, I don't know. But A.T. Perry, man, I like the guy. I think that he's a very talented player, man. And honestly, if the Saints make a mistake to let this dude go, I ain't gonna say he gonna be no number one receiver, but I guarantee you this dude gonna be making some money in the NFL somewhere because he has that type of talent. So, I mean, you better be very, very careful. I know everybody looking at Mason Tipton and Bub Means, you know, those are the new fresh toys that just came to Andy's room. But hey, man, you know, you got to take a look at this guy, you know, and know that he has that talent. He has that ability to be able to make plays in crucial situations, man. So I like A.T. Perry. I think there's something there. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like, you got to show them what you're capable of if that's what they want. But speaking of guys that are capable and showing coaches what they want to see, we got to talk about Chase Young. Chase Young continues to impress. He's ahead of schedule. Wasn't supposed to even be a full participant in practice. Of course, he got cleared a few days ago to be able to take part in the team activities. And they have given him more reps than Coach Dennis Allen spoke about.
Look, he got more reps today. I think the plan was kind of to try to get him about 3 or 4 reps in each team period. So I'd say he probably got around 9 reps or something like that today in practice, which is maybe about a half to a third of what he might normally get if he was taking full reps. But he's certainly a disruptive player, and you can tell the difference when he's out there, and so now it's really about slowly bringing him along, allow him to continue to get more and more reps so he gets his body in football condition, and then he can kind of make sure he understands what we're trying to do within the scheme.
I like how he's just trying to sit up there like, we get pass rushes like this every day, B. He's doing some really good things. I'm pretty sure when the cameras go off and he like in a room with his coaches, man, he up there probably want to dance on the table. This is something that the New Orleans Saints have needed for I don't know how long. I guess you can probably say since Trey Hendrickson left. This is a guy that is otherworldly good. Like when he's motivated, when he's healthy, like he's one of the best. I know a lot of people didn't really pay attention to Commander/football team games that much when he played. But before he really started to go through this little bump in the road when it came to injuries, like this dude was dominant. Like he was an absolute beast. And this is something that the Saints have been missing. No disrespect to Cam Jordan, but Cam Jordan, like I say probably after the 2018 season, you can kind of start to see a little bit, of the production kind of dwindle a little bit. But this is something that the Saints need. This is something that the entire defense needs. I feel like this offensive line definitely needs a guy like Chase Young. It says at the top of this thumbnail, it says iron sharpens iron. That's just the truth. If you got a bunch of average Joes on your team, guess what? You're going to have an average team. You have to be able to have somebody that can help that next person go to the next level. When you have elite talent, right? When you have elite talent and you're going up against them every single day, it makes you better. I don't think it's a coincidence that Michael Thomas was one of the best wide receivers in football and Marshawn Lattimore was one of the best cornerbacks in football at the same time. These dudes were challenging each other. Michael Thomas, when he played on Sunday, he was like, man, there's a chance I ain't going to find no other cornerback better than the one I practice against in Marshawn. And Marshawn probably feeling like, man, I ain't going to find too many talented wide receivers on the level of Mike T. You need that. So this offensive line, they need that type of stuff, man. Like, so when people be talking about, like, when they looking at this offensive line getting pushed back, like, like, if Carl Granderson is pushing back an offensive lineman, I can understand this. Like, Carl Granderson had 8.5 sacks. If Chase Young is pushing back an offensive lineman, I ain't about to poo-poo on that because guess what? This dude is one of the best at his position. So when you're putting up these clips and talking about Trevor Penny, oh, he got pushed back, look at him. Carl Granderson ain't no slouch. There's a reason why they extended Carl Granderson. There's a reason why Chase Young is one of the best pass rushers. Like the Saints get in their hands. I want people to understand this. Chase Young being with the New Orleans Saints is solely because teams didn't want to touch the issue of him possibly, him having neck surgery. There we go. Teams knew he had to have neck surgery and they didn't want to touch it. And it kind of made them like nervous. And the Saints, they were willing to gamble on it. That's the only way this dude is here. If there was no neck surgeries, like seriously, if there was like no neck surgeries or anything like this, this dude would probably be somewhere else making a whole bunch of money, which he's probably going to end up doing if he stays healthy with the Saints and he dominates the way that a lot of people are saying that he more likely will. And how he's looking right now, he's looking motivated. So he's already good. Now he's good and motivated. So understand that. So I'm not poo-pooing the offensive line. So please stop sending me these messages. Oh, look at Trevor. Look, they backsliding. Like, so what, man? Like, it's training camp, and they're going up against some elite competition. So if you're going up against elite competition, and they got all these different plethoras of pass rush styles, and all of a sudden, like these dudes start stonewalling guys. Guess what they're going to do against other pass rush? They're going to improve. So that's what you need. Like, I don't understand that, man. Like, nitpicky stuff when it comes to Taliese Fuaga, who I'm about to get to in a minute. You know, somebody showed me a picture of him holding or something like that. Like, he can't do this in games. This dude took, I don't know how many snaps at practice. And, you know, you got Dennis Allen out here saying this about him.
Well, I think, look, the number one thing I'd say is, you know, for a rookie, you know, his name's not getting called out a lot. And when you're an offensive lineman and nobody's really talking about you that much, that usually means you're doing a pretty good job. So he's picked up the scheme pretty well. The physical nature and the way that he plays, I think, has shown up out here. I think that, you know, obviously that was the thing that attracted us to him in college. I still think, you know, obviously he's still got, you know, a long way to go. But I've been really, really encouraged with what I've seen and him making that transition, you know, to the left tackle position.
All I'm saying to Saints fans out there is I understand the skepticism of this team. And we'll get into that a little bit later when we're talking about Dennis Allen. I understand that. But damn, when you look at a guy like Taliese Fuaga, ain't nobody even really talking about this dude. Like, think about this. This was your number one draft pick in this year's draft, and nobody's talking about it. Nobody's saying anything about it. This guy moved from the right side of the line, where he played the majority of his football life, to the left, and ain't nobody talking about him. So this right here, to me, this guy has the capability of being something special. He has the capability of doing something that we ain't seen in a while, which is stabilize the left side of the line. So I'm not going to poo-poo and look for little holding plays and stuff like that when this guy's taking snap after snap, stonewalling some of the biggest and strongest human beings on the planet. Why can't we be happy about this situation? If this guy works out, then you already pretty much solved the main issue on your offensive line. Now, Trevor Penning, I mean, it's still pending here. But at least you know for a fact that you have yourself a left tackle for the next 5, possibly 10 years pending health here. So I'm not going to poo-poo on a guy for, technique, and sometimes, he coming up with the holding, because it ain't happening like that all the time. This dude is a special athlete. I know some of y'all probably got introduced to him, just when he signed with the Saints. But if you ever seen Oregon State and this dude play, this dude is a mean, nasty individual. And he like super athletic, like a freakishly athletic big man for his size. And the type of offense that the Saints were running, Oregon State kind of did a lot of those things. And this dude is a straight up mauler, man. So I have nothing but respect for the New Orleans Saints tribal chief, Taliese Fuaga here. So when you combine all that together, Chase Young stepping up, Carl Granderson, him, being that number one pass rush guy, emerging into that. You combine that with Cam Jordan's leadership on the line. Like, you should be excited about this line, man, because once again, there hasn't been a guy in this rotation, in my opinion, that has the ability to really challenge these guys. Like, I'm not saying anything. I'm not trying to be negative on Carl Granderson. He's talented. But I'm telling you, like, when you're talking about pass rush, like the Michael Parsons style, the Myles Garrett style, this is what Chase Young is. So you're not going to find too many guys with this type of capability and arsenal on a consistent basis. You're actually going up against this every single day at practice. Your offensive line should be on point. Once again, iron sharpens iron. To me, I feel like when you look at Demario Davis and you look at, like somebody like Alvin Kamara, if Alvin Kamara is finding success against, Demario Davis, him running out of the backfield, I feel like that's top notch right there, right? Because look at Demario Davis. When you see this defense, struggling against the offense, guess what? That's great. Because guess what? This is one of the best defenses in football. So if the offense is having their way, guess what? That means that the offense is improving. If you can get past your defense, like if your defense trash, I'm talking about can't stop a nosebleed, then that ain't very impressive. But when you have a top 10, top 15 defense and you're going up against that offensively and you're finding success and you're getting into the red zone and you're cashing in, that's a sign of a team turning a corner. So when you read these articles about the defense, got the best of the offense had a really good day. I take a lot of stock when they say the offense has a really good day versus the defense having a good day, because you have an offense trying to figure it out, coming up with a brand new scheme, something they haven't done in nearly 20 years. So when an offense has that level of success against the defense, I'm really excited about this team. So, and then on top of that, I did mention this on X on yesterday. I really just like the vibe of this whole training camp. I don't know, maybe it's just the fact that they're away from, familiar territory. And I know a lot of Saints fans aren't happy about that. They want to go out there, cheer for the black and gold, see the improvements firsthand. But sometimes you got to get you got to get out of familiar territory in order for you to be able to get away from situations, that's familiar to you, in order for you to be able to grow, in order for you to develop relationships and friendships and camaraderie. It kind of reminds me of, Remember the Titans, right? When they switched over Denzel Washington, being a coach, they end up going to training camp out in a dorm where it was just those guys, right? And you had an environment where they came from that didn't want these guys to play together, right? They had a whole bunch of a bunch of white noise in the background, clouding these guys' judgment. And when they got together, they realized, man, we're a team. We're a family. But, sometimes you got to get rid of, get out of those familiar territories, out of that environment in order for you to really shine and for you to really see things. And also you don't have the issue of 100% humidity that you have to deal with. You can actually really get some good work in. So it's a good little chill vibe. Definitely a California style training camp. I don't know what it's going to. I don't know what it's going to translate to. I don't know. I don't know. I do not know. But all I know is maybe this is what they actually needed, because things have been extremely uptight over the last couple of years, and you got your fan base not really too excited about the team. You going out there practicing your behind off, and then all of a sudden, you riding in your car, and you got long time listener, first time caller telling you that your offensive line trash and you just doing everything that you can to try to improve it. It's not always a good thing, right? You out there in California, Irvine, ain't too much Saints talk going on around there unless you have to go look for it. You're in New Orleans, it's right in your face, right? You can't look, Q93. Let me find out. This guy suck. What? You're looking for Q93, and now you hear somebody talking about how bad you're playing. So maybe you just need a change of scenery. But I'm going to go ahead and read some of your comments, and then we'll get into Dennis Allen. Let me see. I'll go ahead. I say quite a bit, so I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Says TJ, that was a good comparison of how Chase making an O-line good, like how Mike T and Lat made each other better. 10 out of 10 example. Yeah, iron sharpens iron, man. You get a great player against a great player, great on great. You have no choice but to, get better, because that player is going to push you, and you're not going to see that type of talent every single week. And that motivates you to see man, this dude ain't no Marshawn Lattimore, and Marshawn can be like, man, this ain't no Michael Thomas. So I don't care what anybody say. I think that going up against Michael Thomas every single week was the reason why he does so well against guys like Mike Evans and Julio Jones. If you look at it, Marshawn thrives mostly against bigger body guys, the big physical wide receivers. He kind of struggles a little bit against those little smaller guys. You know what I'm saying? Those guys don't have those bigger frames. You're not going to bully him, and that's kind of like Mike T's game. He plays bully ball. He's not going to run past you. He's just going to out physical you. So I think that type of stuff helped him. Look at his numbers versus, players that don't kind of resemble that type of, makeup versus the ones that he do. Amari Cooper kind of matches that makeup. Julio Jones matched that makeup. Mike Evans matched that makeup. DK Metcalf matched that makeup. DK Metcalf had that one catch for a touchdown that was in busted coverage. And then after that, he didn't do nothing else for the rest of the game. And I think that had a lot to do with the fact of how Michael Thomas played and the physicality he played with. Once again, iron sharpens iron, folks. All right, but let's see. We got football Thursday night finally. Yep, football is back, and everybody's excited about it. And I'm honestly excited for preseason, man, because the Saints got a lot of things that they need to address, and guys are really trying to make this team. So it's an exciting time. Like back in the day, preseason, ain't really too much watch because you know what you're gonna get out of quarterback, running back, wide receiver. You was kind of just looking at the cornerback position, and then all of a sudden, like when guys come in the game late third, fourth quarter, man, you outside, hanging out, you go up there chilling with your homeboys, like, man, y'all ain't really paying that much attention to the game. But I will say this: I'm watching all preseason games, and I will be going live immediately after every preseason game on Bleacher Report. Already got that confirmed today, so folks. So all preseason long. Your boy gonna be on Bleacher Report after the game, so make sure y'all tune in. All right. Let's see. We know those wine guys can block. Yeah, man, and they tough. And if you notice, man, they don't get hurt very often. They don't get hurt very often. Like you think about Sewell, Penei Sewell, and and then you had what was the defensive tackle name? What was it, Nyata? I can't think of his name, man. But he played for a very, very long time. I mean, yeah, these guys are physical, man. Haloi Nada, that's his name. Haloi Nada. And it just popped in my mind. Like, yeah, those guys are big, they're physical, they're strong. There's a reason why, most of them, transition after football, transition to wrestling, what I'm saying, and be really successful. When you got 350-pound guys, they're athletic, Think about like both of the Usos played football. Roman Reigns played football, right? I don't know if Jacob Fatu played football, but that guy's a freakish athlete either. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It just must be something in the water of the Polynesian culture. I don't know what it is, man. But I don't think I ever seen so many large human beings be able to move the way that they do. So a lot of success. See, this is the kind of information you get from guys who actually go out and see what's going on at camps and stuff. Well, man, look, to me, I take a lot of pride in what I do. You know what I'm saying? I take a lot of pride in the game. Like I don't, what I'm saying? I'm not out there, but I'm privileged enough to be able to, interact with some very good people that's on the ground there. And we just try to put this thing into perspective, man. So I appreciate that if you were talking about me. Like the guys with ESPN podcasts, like let me see, Matt at the further review, nothing but negative from that guy. Someone who never gets out or anything. Look, I'm gonna say this, Mike. I'm gonna say this. I got nothing but respect for Matt Moscona. I have absolutely nothing but respect for him, Mike. Here's the thing. I think sometimes we have to really decide, like, is it negativity because we don't want to hear it, right? Or is it like is it really like negativity because we don't want to hear it? Is he telling us like something that's actually factual? Like sometimes we got to look at ourselves in the mirror. We don't like what we see all the time. Like when we take that good look, we know what we know where the chinks in the armor are. Like we know. I guess it's a matter of us addressing it or not. Now I get it. Like maybe when he talks about Derek Carr, a lot of people don't feel a certain way, because of how he talks. But I never heard Matt say anything without like backing it up with like statistics and stats. Like I ain't just like spitballing. Like how some of these other cats do it. Like if he's critical, he's telling you why, and it's just like so many other Saints fans out here, Mike. A lot of Saints fans have that wait and see approach because you got to give people something to believe in, so a lot of people feel like this team will never change or never get better as long as they have Derek Carr and Dennis Allen. And I say this all the time on the show. in order for you to change that stigma, to change like the way that people think about you, you have to start winning. And if you do that, then I feel like then you'll approve. Matt Moscona show sucked, TJ. I don't know about that, man. I disagree. I think Matt Moscona is one of the best personalities in that talk Saints. I don't know. I just think that sometimes like we're so emotionally invested in football, that we're so emotionally invested in a team that sometimes we don't want to hear about the imperfections of the team. It's almost like, somebody talking about your wife or your husband or your boyfriend or girlfriend, your sister, your brother, your mama. It's kind of like that. Like it's one thing for you to talk about your mama. It's another thing for somebody else to talk about. You know what I'm saying? You ready to, for somebody to catch a fade talking about your people. So I don't know, man. Like when I get behind this microphone, like I put all biases aside. Like that's just the way I roll. There's sometimes people like might look at me as being hyper negative, but I don't feel like I am, because everything I say is and I honestly don't feel that way about him. I don't. I just think that a lot of people just don't like his approach. But man, I have respect for him. Like as a broadcaster, as a person that does this by trade every single day, it's not easy to do this. Some people make it look easy, and some people feel like anybody can do it. But it's not very easy to do that, man. And it's an art. And I tell you right here, I tell you like this, right? It's like Danny Glover on Color Purple when he played Mr. Everybody like, man, I can't stand Mr. Man, I hated Mr. Like, isn't that a testament to like how good he is as an actor? It's not who he is. You know what I'm saying? He's one of, and what I'm saying is he's such a presence as a broadcaster, right? And sometimes like his ability to be able to, tell these stories and be as animated as he is, it can tick you off, man. To me, I feel like he does a hell of a job telling as a storyteller, man. Like it's an art that he has. I understand how some people may feel, but he ain't about to hear me say nothing negative about my guy Matt. Matt just telling the truth, and people don't like it. Yeah, a lot of people don't like me for that reason. I love Matt Moscona show. Yeah, man, ain't gonna be no. There's a couple people. There's quite a few, but there's certain slander I would not accept. Okay, when it comes to Ross Jackson, I better not hear nothing about my guy Ross. All right, you know what I'm saying. When it comes to Matt, like nothing but respect for Matt Moscona. Like those are my guys right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause I know how hard them dudes work, and I know what they're doing ain't easy. So I don't know, man. Like I said, some things that personalities are going to say are going to rub people the wrong way. But we try to put things into perspective, man. It's never like I just get behind here like, man, I might bash Jake Hayner today or something. Like nothing like that. I'm just telling y'all, like anybody that's been rocking with this show, it's virtually impossible for me to come on this show and just have like a script, like, cause I don't know what we're gonna talk about. Like, cause most of the time, like after I have my opening dialogue, which that, I kind of know what I'm doing with that. But even at the same time, like, I don't know what I'm gonna say before I start this show. And I certainly don't know what I'm gonna end up saying because I'm reading the comments. So it's not easy, man. So nothing that I say is just like, I think I'm gonna channel my inner character today. Like, I don't know. I mean, we might end up start talking about Taliese Fuaga and end up talking about hot sausage patties, man. Y'all know how we do it on here. we don't know what we're gonna talk about. TJ, his views not undisputed, not low. Well, you say his views not undisputed, now low. I don't know. Like, I mean, doesn't matter. Like, doesn't matter if you're doing what you love to do. I mean, I know for a fact, like, my viewership is taking a hit with some of the things that I said. Like, but that's not gonna stop me from doing what I want to do. Like, this is why, like, you have to make sure you love what you do. Like, when you're doing podcasts, you gotta love what you do. Like, you gotta love the process. You gotta love like doing this with a passion, because if you're basically doing something based on views, based on like how people, feel about a certain situation, like you got to be true to yourself and true to your audience. If we're talking about the Saints, look, I feel like I would be doing you a disservice if I'm just telling you everything that you want to hear. Like I can tell you that things are, going to look up, but if I didn't give you any reasons to believe in that, like I'm doing you a disservice. I'm also doing you a disservice if the team doesn't play well and I just sit up here and act like they didn't. I can't sit up here and tell you that Dennis Allen is the answer when he hasn't shown us that he's the answer. So you can't always, y'all know what I'm saying, man. Like you gotta love to do this thing. Cause I mean, they had so many people that started this show. I said something, then all of a sudden, oh man, I ain't rocking with you no more. My bad. My bad. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Dennis Allen. Now, I was looking on X today. I want to make sure that I go ahead and pull this up on my phone here. I was on X today, and of course they had a list about it was according to USA Today, and I apologize I don't have it on the screen for you all. But according to USA Today Touchdown Wire, they ranked the top 10 worst head coaches in the NFL. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give you the list from 10 to 1. All right, so number 10, you have the Seahawks head coach Mike McDonald. Number 9, you have Dave Canales for the Panthers. Number 8, you have Antonio Pierce with the Raiders. Number 7, you got Todd Bowles with the Bucks. Number 6, Brian Callahan with the Titans. Number 5, you got Robert Saleh with the Jets. Number 4, Brian Daboll with the Giants. Number 3, Gerard Mayo with the Patriots. Number 2, Matt Eberflus with the Bears. And number 1, you have Dennis Allen with the New Orleans Saints. So some people feel like, and I'm looking at some of the comments, people are saying like, it just does, it's not fair to Dennis Allen. This list is definitely skewed. Is it? Is it skewed? Like here's the thing. I do feel, and this is fair. This is very, very fair. A lot of the coaches being in this top 10 are first-time coaches. So you basically don't have anything to compare them to. So to me, I feel like when they were doing this, they were doing it based on situations, the team ability to improve, and also coaches that actually had opportunities to show that they can turn the organization around, and they have yet to do so. So I feel like it's fair. Like when you think about it, when you think about Brian Daboll, right? Brian Daboll was hired from the Buffalo Bills because of his job that he did with Josh Allen, developing him. They brought him to New York to do the same thing with Daniel Jones. And Daniel Jones has yet to be able to do that. Like he was on a trajectory to throw about 1 million interceptions last season, and then he got hurt. And it wasn't like, oh man, if Daniel Jones was playing. No, he was terrible. He looked horrible last year. Now, their offensive line didn't do him no favors, but still, he looked horrible. So you got to take that into consideration. You also have to take into consideration that Todd Bowles, like they won a division, but at the same time, if Tampa was not in the NFC South, would Todd Bowles still have a job? If Todd Bowles was coaching the Tampa Bay Buccaneers who were in the AFC North, would he have a job? If he was coaching the Tampa Bay Buccaneers who were in the NFC North, would he have a job? Probably not. To me, you are the golden trash bag that's sitting on the curb with a bunch of black trash bags. I mean, you got to look at it that way. So, and then you have, like I said, a bunch of unproven guys that have yet to really show what they have. Robert Saleh is another guy, playing for, and you have Aaron Rodgers, you Zach Wilson, you got a award-winning defense, one of the top in the league, and you still can't get it done, right? So, I mean, it's fair. And then you have a coach in Dennis Allen. I'm sorry, Dennis, but it's the truth. You got a team that was capable of at least going to the playoffs. Like, I ain't saying nigga was win a Super Bowl and all that kind of stuff there, but you had a playoff-ready team. when you took the job. It's not like, and I think they're holding him accountable. And some people saying it's not fair, but hey, it is what it is. They're looking at it like this team was set up for success, and they look at the way that Sean Payton left. Sean Payton left because what? He wanted to leave. It wasn't like he got fired. So with that in mind, like, you have to take that into consideration, and they're also taking into consideration, fair or unfair, this isn't his first coaching stop. So can you knock him? I can't. There's one way that you can change this narrative, and I keep telling y'all, is to win. You don't want to be on a list, you win. And then you also have to take into account, folks, when they did the list at the end of the year, right? When they were evaluating coaches, he was at the bottom of the list. All the other coaches that were below him no longer have a job. So you have to look at it that way too. So you can't be like, oh, well, he was one of the dead last coaches according to the rankings last year, but that's last year. So put him in middle of the pack. He's not a middle of the pack coach. Like, according to the list that they put out, he was at the bottom. Like I said, every coach underneath him got fired. So when they did that ranking, I feel like it's justifiable. Do I think that Dennis Allen can lead the New Orleans Saints to the playoffs? I don't know. Do I think that he's the answer to the New Orleans Saints? That remains to be seen. But at the end of the day, like, if you feel like Dennis Allen shouldn't be, I ain't saying he is, because we know how the New Orleans Saints organization rolls. They're a very patient organization, a lot more patient, than we would like them to be in certain situations. But he has to prove it. We don't, like, if Dennis Allen was the coach of the Jets, I don't know if he has a job. If he was coaching the Giants, wouldn't have a job. Philly wouldn't have a job. Like, he has to prove it, man. He has to prove it. I'm not, like I said, I ain't trying to knock Dennis Allen or nothing like that. Like, this is a new season. The way I felt about Dennis Allen last season, like, I completely erased that. I'm focused on this year because I want him to be successful, because I love the Saints and I want the Saints to be successful. So, but at the same time, like, that don't mean nothing if you can't get it done. I'm gonna read a few more and then we'll go ahead and get up out of here, folks. That list sound right to me. LOL. Dennis Allen or Saints front office not wanting to turn the page and get a new coach. I feel like this. In a certain, like, if you think about it, not very happy about it, some Saints fans, but it's understandable. His first season, he had a bunch of layovers that belonged to Sean Payton. Those guys were with the team because Sean hired them. And honestly, man, it's almost like this. Just put yourself in that position, right? You're one of the workers. You've been working at a job for I don't know how long, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, person hired you and all that kind of stuff. You doing the job. You think you do a pretty good job. Give 110%. Show up to work, man. Never slack off. Give it everything that you got. Then all of a sudden, there's a company meeting, and they say, okay, hey, everybody, I don't know, Dan stepped down. And now we are happy to announce that we're going to hire from within such and such, right? And you're like, man, I ain't got no problem with him, man. But, I see that dude over there leaning on a vending machine quite often. You know what I'm saying? I see this dude over here, you know what I'm saying? Like, I be seeing him ducking work. And it's like, man, why they ain't choose me? I've been here just as long as him. I feel like my opportunity should be somewhere in there. You got that going on. Like, man, and then when things go south, you like, well, you know what I'm saying? He ain't hire me. I know I can coach the hell out this team. So so I can understand that. All right. Then the last year, you turned around the defensive staff and you still had Sean Payton layovers offensively, right? Because you still wanted to keep that in place. Didn't work. So finally this season, you turned over the offense, right? I mean, he turned over the defensive staff last year. He has his best record as a coach, which is 9-8. wasn't 7-10, right? 9-8. So he turned over the offense. I guess that's how they looking at it. But at the same time, like, if it don't pan out, if it doesn't work, then yes, I feel like he has to go. Like, what more do you need to see? You know, what do you need to see? I mean, you basically completely did an overhaul of this entire team, and you kept the guys that you wanted, that you felt like had the promise to be able to help you get where you need to be, to generate the results that you wanted, right? So if it doesn't work out, then what other leg do you have to stand on? There are no scapegoats here. Quarterback can't be your scapegoat. You wanted him. Defense can't be your scapegoat because they're the reason and they're so successful because of you before you became a head coach. So my question is, what other leg do you have to stand on? What justification for those that are upset about how this list was? How do you feel? Like, why would you feel that way? Like, why do you feel like he shouldn't be ranked at the top? I mean, because he coaches the Saints and it makes the Saints don't look good. I mean, that's not good enough for me. You know, like, you have to prove that you can actually win and generate results. So I hope you don't go 9-8 again and miss the playoffs. TJ Mann went 9-8. That list is garbage. Don't matter. Did they make the playoffs? No, they didn't. Has Dennis Allen, as a head coach of the New Orleans Saints, ever made the postseason? He has not. If we want to be real, we didn't see, like, think about this. DeMeco Ryans, he goes to the Houston Texans, right? Houston Texans were one of the worst teams in the league. That's the reason why they got C.J. Stroud in the first place. They had two first round picks picked in the top 10. They picked C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson. They overachieved. They went 10-7 last season, won the division, went to the playoffs. And this dude first year. And they basically did a kind of an overhaul on their team. You had some guys that wanted to roll with him from San Francisco. You had some guys that, you know, you had to fix the offensive line. Nobody expect them dudes to do nothing. And they go to the postseason. Like, think about this. And you know where the bodies are buried. Like, you know these dudes on a professional and a personal level. So that's what I'm saying, man. Like, you can say it ain't fair, but what has he done in order for you to sit up here and justify that? What other coach in the National Football League can you really just honestly say you don't understand not being on that list? If Nick Sirianni, who took the Philadelphia Eagles to the Super Bowl about 2 seasons ago, this man goes into this season on a hot seat. What exempts, and they made the playoffs. What exempts Dennis Allen from being on this list? Man, see, this is the kind of conversation we got to have. We don't want to have this conversation. We don't want to talk about these things because we love this team. But we need to take a really good look in the mirror, man. Everything ain't about bias. Everything ain't about hate. In my opinion, and I love the Saints, what does the NFL have to hate on the Saints on right now? Really? Them not getting coverage is justifiable. Sorry, I'm just a messenger. If you want people to talk about you, put an album out if you're an artist. If you want people to talk about you, and if you're a painter, then put on a one-man show. If you ain't got nothing popping off but what we used to be and what Sean Payton and Drew Brees did for the team, guess what? It's irrelevant. Because Drew Brees wasn't about 2 more years about to hit the Hall of Fame. So he's been gone for about 3 seasons now. So the reality of the thing is, man, you can't sit back and be like, man, Drew Brees did all this and Sean Payton. But, bro, them days gone. Look around you, man. Tampa Bay has won, has been taking over the division, regardless of how y'all want to look at it. So if you want somebody to talk about you, you want somebody to rep you, you want somebody to really, like, you really want to pound the drum for the team to be relevant, they gotta act like that. Ain't nobody checking for the Saints, folks. They just not. But you got to give them some. Like 9-8 means nothing. 9-8 means nothing, man. Like 9-8 to get you to the playoffs now, because they got 7 seeds. 9-8 get like, come on, man. That's 8-8. They just added another game. So if they didn't have no games, folks, you 8-8, you 500. The man went 8-8. Come on, like 9-8, like 9-8 looks respectable because you added another game that you won. So you'll be 7-9, then you'll be 8-8 if they didn't add another if they didn't add another game. So I don't know, man. Like we gotta be real with ourselves, man. Like, man, it does not. I don't take any pride dissing my squad. I take no pride in telling y'all this stuff that I'm saying to you. But we gotta be real with it. But I tell you what, if they can turn it around, it's just a better success story because we're having these conversations. And they done had some dark times. So if they can actually dig themselves out of this situation, think about how much better you'll feel. So I don't know, man. They show promise, but promise don't keep you. Man, you don't keep no job with no promise, man. They got a lot of coaches on the street that gave a fan base hope, promise. People want to win. This is a result-driven business. TJ, I agree with you. If it were not for a crab stealing blind quarterback throwing a oh man, now we're gonna blame Jameis Winston for that loss, okay? And that's the reason why the Saints not in the postseason. Yeah, I mean, I guess because theoretically or analytically, Green Bay won that tiebreaker. That's why they end up getting a chance to beat Dallas at AT&T Stadium. Okay, fine. You want to say that, but at the same time, you paid a quarterback $100 million, and you paid him not to be 9-8. So if come on. I mean, Derek Carr, if I'm not mistaken, Derek Carr didn't miss a game, right? I mean, he got knocked out of a few games, but he hasn't missed a game. So this is the $100 million quarterback that you paid. But we sitting up here talking about a 9-8 record that could have possibly got us to the postseason. I mean, if you want to keep it a buck, you could have got another quarter. You could have signed Joe Flacco for half that, and he probably would have got you to 9-8. And I feel pretty comfortable in saying that since he was 4-1 as a starter for the Cleveland Browns. I mean, this was supposed to be an upgrade, right? And we grasping at straws for 9-8 and upset that our team didn't make the postseason at 9-8 when the most average, mediocre quarterback for the most part, that you can put in this system probably would have did the same exact thing. So I don't know, man. I know we like to, blame Jameis Winston but man, Derek Carr started every game last season. And people can say, well, he was hurt. Y'all know how it go. If you out there, you have that number 4 and you got Carr on the back, you well enough to play. Fair or unfair? I don't know how we lost that pack. I don't know. I don't either. In all seriousness, I do not know. Now there's talk of an additional game next season, an 18-game season to be exact. Yeah. A lot of players not going to like that, but I guarantee they're going to like that extra pay check they get. Last year is dead. This year is now. Yeah. I mean, that's why I was talking about with Dennis Allen. The way, he's here. So saying, oh, man, he ain't the answer. Oh, he suck. He stink. He ain't never going to be no good coach. Like, bro, that ain't going to make nothing happen this season. I just say sit back and adjust accordingly. Did Joe Flacco also have Pete Carmichael as his offensive coordinator? No, he didn't. He did not have Pete Carmichael as his offensive coordinator. But I tell you this, I think that Joe Flacco probably would have, Joe Flacco would have gave you 9-8. Yeah, he would have gave you 9-8. he would have gave you 9-8, bro. Yes, he would have. Like you put Joe Flacco in his offense, he'll give you 9-8. Derek Carr quit one of those games because he couldn't get a first down. I don't know if he quit a game or not, man. I don't know. I don't even want to go down that hole, man. I think that Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr didn't do himself any favors. I think that because he wanted to like show everybody how tough he was and and all that, I don't think he necessarily made the right decision to go out there and play. Yeah, to play. Like, I just feel like that wasn't the right decision. Like, if you would have missed like one, I feel like if he would have missed like maybe 2 or 3 games, like, I feel like the way people feel about Derek Carr right now, they wouldn't have felt about him. But you were hurt to a point where it limits you, and you were limited in certain abilities that you may possess while being healthy, and people were grading you based on that. Like, you have a lot of Saints fans, they didn't watch you play in Vegas, right? So they don't know how good you are. They don't know how what your capabilities are. So to me, I feel like he might have soured. He basically kind of did this to himself in a way. Like, I'm telling you, if you would have set out maybe 2 or 3 games and he would have, and came back and been better, because if have your reservations about Derek Carr, not later in the season, he started to play better. So if he would have missed maybe 2 or 3 games to, I don't know, make sure that your shoulder's straight. Like, who knows? Like, I don't know if the Saints would have made the postseason. Probably wouldn't have. But I don't think people would be looking at him as, the way they're doing it right now. Speak facts, man, not hypotheticals. Big Facts heard his back, grabbed his head. Man, y'all ain't letting them slide. Speaking of Flacco, who played with the Browns last year, TJ, you hit us with Browns today. Struck dogs, bark exceptionally loud. Those Browns, 32 teams in 32 days. Yeah, man. 32 teams, 32 days right now. Just released the Cleveland Browns preview. Got a few more teams, man. We got Baltimore Ravens tomorrow. Then we're going to switch over to the NFC West, and then finally the AFC West. And that's going to be it, man. We put a lot of episodes in. I'm extremely proud of the project that, that we did over there on the Gumbo Pot, man. So I took a lot of pride in that, and still taking a lot of pride in it. So if you haven't checked out any of the episodes, make sure you check them out. It's probably one of the reasons why I could just quote off stats, and guys, what I'm saying, the guys' stats now. Like, now I know that Mark Cooper had 70 receptions or 73 receptions for 1,250 yards and 5 touchdowns, right? I can tell you that Chris Olave had 1,123 yards and 5 touchdowns. I could quote them things out now. So it's like, I can tell you Jamar Chase had 100 receptions. So a lot of this, it kind of helped me. And, unfortunately, I know way more about the division rivals than I would like. Yeah. And, makes you a little bit more nervous about how this season can turn out. The expectation for a quarterback in a new system is crazy. What quarterback that was available we have taken at that time? She nice. I wish I had that answer, but I don't know. But I think a lot of people feel like if we were going to turn a page and we will get that type of production where you're 9-8, missing the playoffs, falling short, like, you might as well should have just went out there with somebody for less. Like, you could have just went out there and brought back Jameis Winston again. Like, because think about this, folks. I honestly feel, like, wholeheartedly, I honestly feel if Jameis Winston would have been a starting quarterback of the New Orleans Saints, and let's just say it didn't work out, Dennis Allen still would have been back. It's not like he was coaching for the job. Like, I feel like no matter what happened last season, Dennis Allen was going to come back in year 3. So with that in mind, it's like you might as well should just roll with Jameis. And if things didn't pan out, who knows? Maybe you would have got yourself, one of these quarterbacks. And then you would have been able to start over, and get your franchise guy. And then you can take him, have him on that rookie deal, accompany him with a couple more guys, or hell, get yourself back to the middle of the salary cap situation. So what do you actually like? You go into the season with high expectations, yes. But at this particular point, I'm not looking at this season. It could cash in. But what has Derek Carr given you? Like that you couldn't get from anybody else. No disrespect, but you could have put any quarterback out there and you would have missed the playoff. I mean, you was almost picking in the top 10. What was the Saints draft position? What number did they pick Taliese? Anybody know right off the bat? I can't remember. So it wasn't like, man, dude, you still was out on the outside looking in. TJ, much love, bro, to you and your family. Thinking about PAX, I am close to UC Irvine and Loomis. Forget Saints fans are here on the West Coast. I will be here at the 49ers game. Okay, man. Well, hey, I'm happy to hear that, man. I hope you enjoy it. And yeah, he says no fans are allowed at UC Irvine. Well, like I said, maybe it's a good thing, man. Maybe they just need to focus and get away from familiar surroundings and having the pressure of seeing the fans like going out there critiquing everything that you do, the mistakes that you make, and like I don't know. I can see positive. I can see positive things happening when it comes to like not having that pressure of like, if you drop a pass, gotta see when you get out of practice, just see a tweet, man. I seen such and such drop that pass, man. If he can't catch, then he needs to leave. Like. Basically, you kind of just getting the information from from the reporters who are doing a really good job, by the way. But it's one thing for them to be able to tweet about it. It's another thing for you to be able to have that imagery in your mind and how it creates this in your mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it might be a good thing, man. Who that told you don't know what you're talking about? Say who that told you? They didn't believe in Jameis. No, I mean, Jameis wasn't his guy. Jameis was here because of Sean Payton, not Dennis Allen. I really believe our defense going to really cut up this season. Hope we get some big turnovers. Who that record talking about me? Oh, 15. Okay, so yeah, there were 15. Thank you for that. Who that records? Yeah, I don't know, man. All I know is you're still picking in the middle of the pack. Didn't really get the results that you wanted. So, but I don't know, man. Maybe, this will be the year Derek Carr gets it together. Running game, you're trying to put an emphasis on that. Maybe, you get yourself some yards after the catch, blocking downfield, a little motion, stepping into the 21st century. Maybe that'll help you out. But thank you all so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. I really do appreciate it. Once again, my name is Timothy J. Jones. You can follow me on X at TJAYJones8. Hopefully I won you over. For those that are new to the channel and you hit the subscribe button, we're just trying to grow. We're a very interactive podcast. And we do shows quite often, man, at least about 4 or 5 times per week. So if you're into Saints football, family environment, real talk, make sure that you subscribe. And also you can subscribe to the Gumbo Pod Sports podcast, a little bit of a change of pace. We talk about some of the hottest topics in sports. Right now, we're doing our series 32 teams in 32 days. That's kind of our focus right now. Of course, when the football season starts, we'll be talking about some of those other top stories that's going on right now. And also, man, you can check me out on Bleacher Report. You can follow me at TJAY Jones 8 on Bleacher Report. Saints Talk with Timothy J. Jones. I will be there I will be there the entire month of August for Saints preseason after every single game. And also the NFC South Roundtable, I'll be a part of every Tuesday at 7:30, man. And that's on the NFC South Roundtable YouTube channel, man. So your boy gonna be extremely busy this year. A lot of endorsements, a lot of opportunities. And I'm excited about it, man. Everybody knows I love football. Very excited about the opportunities that have been presented. And I just want to make sure I give the Who Dat Nation something to be proud of. And you said so close to 11,000. Yeah, we'll get there, man. It's a marathon, not a sprint. But thank you all so much once again. Have a good morning, noon, night, whenever you're checking out this podcast. And like always, oh, wait a minute, man. We got to do this, man. For people that wasn't here live, man. Shouts out to the after show, boy.
Shouts out to them after show boys. Shouts out to them after show boys. They be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting. Yeah, them after show boys. They be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting. Yeah, them after show boys.
That two-step. But thank you all so much. Till next time. All I got to say is, who dat?
Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. There's all dog around this mug. I'm good.